Nuke has a whole bunch of pretty simple Python commands that enable you to quickly create simple user interfaces without having to dive too much into Python panels and real geek stuff and such. So let's have a look at some of those. Nuke.message is probably one of the easiest ones. All it takes is a simple string, like so, and that will pop up in a little message window. So we could use that for any sort of information, like let's find out how many nodes there are in the script by creating a variable, calling nuke.allNodes, which will return a list of all the nodes. So we then find how many items are in this list, and we finally convert the resulting number to a string, because nuke.message expects a string. So we then feed that into the nuke.message, and if we wanted to, we can add string concatenation to make the whole text a bit nicer in the script, like so. And running this will give us a neat little info window. So that's nuke.message. If you want to go a bit more advanced than that, we can have a look at the nuke.display method. Let's have a quick look at the info viewer first, because that's using the same command. So go to edit node, info viewer, and you can see this display has a few advantages. First of all, you can select and copy paste text from it. It's also non-modal, so you can keep working while it's open. And the cool thing is, it's actually got a context node, which is in this case the node that's selected, so that's Bezier 1, which stays after the selection changes. So every time I hit update, the info in this window will change according to what is changed in Bezier 1. So if I go here and change around the output and stuff, and then hit update, you can see those changes reflected in this non-modal panel. So that's kind of neat. Let's go and build our own. First of all, let's run Python's help command on nuke.display to see what it's all about. And this will tell us that there's 4 arguments. We just need the first 2 really, the other ones are optional. The first one is the script that is supposed to be run to provide the display window with its content. The second one is the context in which that script is run. The third one is the title, and the fourth one is the window's width, so rather unspectacular. So first of all, let's write a little definition that is supposed to be run to provide that window with content. So I'm going to write a little line that returns the current node's channels. So I'll call that show channels, and all that one does is it's meant to return the list of channels of the current node. So nuke.thisNode, and nuke.thisNode is provided through the second argument, which will be our context. And what we're after is the channels list. But we need a string, and this is a list so far, so I'm just going to join the list items with a new line like so. And then they appear underneath each other nice and clean. So all we have to do now is run nuke.display with the first argument being our new script up there, and the second argument is our context node, and that is nuke.selected node, like so. And the title is just show channels, and I'm going to skip over the width because that's a bit boring. So all we have to do now is execute this, and you can see we now see the current node's channels in here, and close that again and go to one of the last ones and run this again. And now let's say we keep this open and change the channels upstream, so there's actually different data coming into that node. So this is just going to put into layer 1, and now if we hit update, we see the changed information right here without having to close this. So that's nuke.display. Next we'll have a look at getInput. Nuke.getInput will allow us to prompt the user for an arbitrary string. The first argument is the title. I will call that change label, because that's what we'll be doing with it. And the second optional argument is the default value. I'm just going to call that new label. Running this line will give us a little input window, and the user can type anything into the text field that they like. So that text is going to be returned if the user hits OK. If the user hits cancel, a none object will be returned. So let's go back and store whatever that panel brings us into the variable text. And first we'll check that the user actually hit OK, otherwise we won't do anything. So we go if not text equals none. So in human speak that means if the user did not hit cancel. We will loop through selected nodes and assign a new label to them using the set value command on the label knob itself. And the new value is of course txt. So now I can select these guys here. Actually, let me just hit enter on those. That's the eyes. So I'm going to run that and call that Rueter eyes. And I'm going to open these guys here, hit enter. These are the brows. So I'll bring that command back and run it again and call it Rueter brows. So now we're a bit more organized here, but we can do one better. So let's go into color coding. We already have the edit node color option, which will bring up a color picker and let us assign a tile color to all selected nodes. However, this is not reflected in the GL color, which is the second knob over here. You can see we just assigned the tile color here, but we didn't assign the GL color. So let's basically improve this tool and do both of that. So Nuke.getColor will give us that color picker. So we'll store the return value of that in the variable called col. I'll just run that for a second so you can see. So this will return our color. And now we basically do the same thing as before. We make sure that the user didn't hit cancel. If not, col equals none. And if that's the case, we'll loop through selected nodes and assign both tile color and GL color. So we go n.knob. Let's do tile color first. And col is whatever we got back from the color picker. So copy that line and paste it down here because it's the same thing, except we'll assign the value to the GL color as well. So now we can select our nodes here, run that command, pick a new color that we like, and now you can see both the tiles and the shapes will actually get the same color. So that will help us organize our Rueter a lot better.